Go. I can see the future!
Yes, I can. Well, kinda anyway. The hype for Season 5 is as strong as ever, and the fandom has eaten out just about everything that could even be considered a spoiler. But maybe we don't need them. Just by looking at a few patterns in the show's past seasons, there are a few episodes that I think I can predict will happen. I'm Capslock, you're not, let's get started. Number 1. The Luna Apple Bloom episode. This first trend I'm pretty sure we've all noticed, but I still choose to address it here. The inevitable Apple Bloom Nightmare episode. Luna appearing in Sleepless in Ponyville in Season 3 came as a big shock, and I don't believe too many of us were disappointed with the fact that she appeared. Then, when Season 4 came around, we saw Luna in a similar situation in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, and it was then that it was unanimously decided amongst the fandom, Apple Bloom, you're next. Now this one is something that I'm excited to see. In Sleepless in Ponyville, Luna appeared in Scootaloo's dreams to help her work things out with Rainbow Dash, her sister, if you will. Then a season later, we see Luna helping Sweetie Belle work out things with Rarity. I find it very likely that Luna will appear in Apple Bloom's dream to help her with a problem she has involving her relationship with Applejack. The reason this excites me is because conflict between Apple Bloom and Applejack is almost unheard of. The only problem we've seen is Applejack being overprotective, first brought to our attention in bridal gossip and then reinforced in Some Pony to Watch Over Me. While I'm excited to see what will happen and curious to see what will arise, I also worry. Since the sisters' chemistry is so good, it would be difficult to create a true conflict without having one or both sides of said conflict portrayed out of character, and I don't want to see a repeated moral under different circumstances or a different moral with almost identical conflicts. Number 2. A bigger, badder lightning dust. A few people caught on to this one, but I think I'm shedding some light on it to a lot of people. Looking at both the past and in the way of the future, it's safe to say that Lightning Dust will be back for round 2, and she'll be a larger hurdle than before. Let's look back, way back, to episode 6 of Season 1, Ghostbusters. We meet the great and powerful Trixie, a fraud whose tall tales wind up putting her in over her head, only to be shown up by Twilight. Twilight and Trixie are foils, meaning two characters whose personalities contrast each other, making their individual traits stick out in a way. 2 seasons later, Trixie returns, but instead of just being an arrogant fraud, her abilities and her temper are greatly enhanced by the Alicorn Amulet. The next link in the pattern happens in Season 2, with the super speedy Cider Squeezy 6000. The Flim Flam brothers are introduced as foils to Applejack. Flim and Flam are businessmen trying to earn a profit, but they prefer the extra money from the added efficiency over the feeling of a job well done shared by the Apple family. With the rest of the main 6 helping, they prove that they can outdo the brothers' machine, and they send the brothers packing. 2 seasons later, in Leap of Faith, Flim and Flam make a comeback, but instead of being salesmen with a good product, with only a difference of ethics being the source of conflict, they become con men and frauds, and their lies escalate to putting people in danger. So, we have a foil that returns 2 seasons later worse than before, just like Trixie. The only new character introduced in Season 3 that serves as any foil to any of the main 6 is Lightning Dust. To further support this, let's look at the future, specifically what could happen. Now think, who did we meet in Season 4 that competed with one of the main 6? Suri Polymere! As much as I love Cheese Sandwich, there is no real difference in personality, unlike Twilight and Trixie, AJ and the Brothers, and Dash and Dust have. Suri, however, definitely contrasts Rarity. Number 3. A Fluttershy or Pinkie Pie foil. If the trend before were to continue, then not only would we see Lightning Dust again, but we would have to introduce someone new to keep it going, would we not? Twilight has Trixie, Applejack has Flim and Flam, Rainbow Dash has Lightning Dust, Rarity has Suri, and that leaves Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. Personally, I can't say that I'd rather have one over another. While Pinkie is my favorite character, I'd also really like seeing an episode that causes Fluttershy to compete. It's something we've never seen before, and Fluttershy's personality would definitely call for an interesting conflict. Number 4. Rainbow Dash has problems with the weather. This one took a lot of thinking, and I'm less sure of this one than the other 2, but this is by no means a shot in the dark. The pattern here is a series of episodes that each draw similarities to another episode. That other episode? Power Ponies. It's been noted several times that the main 6's power and Power Ponies were all extensions of their abilities outside of the comic book. However, 4 of these abilities gained in Power Ponies have been seen in the show so far outside of Power Ponies, and they all have a similar plot line. Season 1 has the worst example, so I'm going to start with Season 2, Putting Your Hoof Down. In Power Ponies, Fluttershy grows to enormous sizes and destroys just about everything in sight when provoked. In putting her hoof down, Fluttershy realizes that she isn't being assertive enough. She eventually gains more assertiveness and terrorizes Ponyville, but realized she took it too far via intervention from Rarity and Pinkie. In Season 3, we get too many Pinkie Pies. Pinkie Pie's power in Power Ponies is incredible speed, allowing her to travel great distances into next to no time at all. In Too Many Pinkie Pies, Pinkie clones herself so that she can be multiple places at once, but soon realizes she has too many clones, which wreak havoc in town, and Twilight has to step in to fix things. Now Season 4. Rarity's power in Power Ponies was the ability to materialize all of her thoughts via her jewelry. Then Inspiration Manifestation comes along and Rarity gains the same power, except the jewelry is no longer necessary. Rarity goes too far with her creations by totally changing the city, and Spike has to stop her. Now back to Season 1, Applebuck Season. The reason I saved this one for later is because this is the least obvious of them all, and knowing about the others would make it easier to understand this one. Applejack gains the ability to control her lasso with her mind, so why is this connected to Applebuck Season? Well, my best guess is that there's no easy way to take farming, the source of conflict in Applebuck Season, and apply that to a superpower. Plus, I imagine it would be hard to make an episode totally written about Applejack going too far with a lasso. In every other aspect, it remains the same. She overcompensates to try and solve a problem, in the process causes other trouble, and it takes another person or persons in order to snap her out of it. Now we have one episode per season, and we have Twilight and Rainbow Dash left. The reason I believe Rainbow Dash is next is because Twilight is the main character. She's either the first to start a trend, as in with Trixie, or the last, as in with the keys that unlocked the rainbow power. Now, Dash's power in Power Ponies was the ability to manipulate the weather effortlessly. I'm expecting Rainbow Dash to do the same as the others and overcompensate for a weather-related problem. To explain, here's a hypothetical plotline. A building or something gets destroyed by lightning during a storm, and in order to protect everything, Rainbow Dash remains on constant duty, removing every sign of cloud cover that appears and eventually causes a drought because there's been no precipitation due to her destroying all the clouds. Now that was just an example that I just kinda came up with, but it's that kind of development that I expect to happen. That's all for now, except I have one little side note. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, a few friends of mine plus myself have started up a YouTube channel based on Yu-Gi-Oh!, so check the link in the description for that. And just like before, any thoughts, feedback, or anything that you feel needs to be said, just leave in the comments. This is Caps Lock, and I'll see you next time.